Alright, so this is the first drive with FSD 12.5.2. Handling pedestrians and dogs okay. One thing I have noticed is that it handles these speed humps on the road in my neighborhood much better. I went over 3 of them earlier. 2 of the speed humps it slowed down to right at 10 miles an hour, but the other speed hump it went about 30 over. And look at that. FSD stopped in the middle of a turn when oncoming traffic. Alright, let me go ahead and re-engage. This is kind of a known problem with FSD that I thought was resolved. So the turn coming out of my neighborhood, there's a bunch of bushes there to the right. I'll see if maybe I can put up the view from the repeater camera. But I saw that there was a car coming. We had enough time to clear it, and what happened is the car was going through the turn, and by the time we were like halfway through the turn, probably about the time that white car showed up in the repeater camera view, and then it just hesitated. And I would suggest that that's a huge problem that FSD needs to fix, because how do I put this? It's not always a good move just to stop. It's a good move to stop if you've barely made it out into the lane and people can like curve around you. But once you're halfway through a turn, the only good move is to gun it, to go, like just start moving. So the fact that it would stop at a time where accident avoidance would suggest that you should speed up is really bad. It's almost like it hits the brakes because it senses that there's a risky situation, and it hits the brakes by default. And that's one thing that not quite human about it. I mean, maybe it depends on the human, on the person. Maybe some people would have that, brake first reaction. I am not. I've been in that situation before. If I see a car is coming at me and I missed it, I mean, if I'm in the way, I'm just going to slam on the accelerator to get out of there. And I've had to do that before, and I definitely would have done that. I saw the car, and it seems like the Tesla did not. And again, I believe, and I don't know if this is a hardware feature they need to add. Ooh, slow down, Tesla. I think it's a hardware feature they need to add, but I don't know if these cameras adjust their depth of focus, where, as a human, you can let's say you put your hand up to your eye. You can choose to focus on your fingers up close, or you can choose to focus beyond your fingers and your fingers get blurry. And so in a turn like that, you have to, with our eyes, with my eyes, I'll adjust my depth of field to look beyond the leaves and see the car coming. And I don't think these cameras can do that. I think they see all the bush and they don't really see through the bush like I can, so that car surprised it. Again, I'll put up the repeater camera feeds. This will be very interesting. Let me go ahead and save them right now. Saving that clip. That's a little disappointing. I was kind of hoping by now they'd have that figured out. But that's why this is supervised. The only true, pretty significant disengagements I've had have all been from misjudging pull-out turns like that, where the pillar cameras do not have a clear field of view. Either they're obstructed by a bush and you need to have that extra depth of field to see it, or maybe it makes a decision based on what it sees, and then it only I don't know, maybe there's multi-part decision making, and it makes its initial decision based on the front cameras, and then maybe second guesses the decision with the repeater cameras that are pointed backwards, which definitely would not be a good design, in my opinion. Granted, I don't work for Tesla. I'm not going to pretend like I can, but look, we don't have a stop sign. Going to keep rolling through that. All right, well, I thought this drive would be very uneventful, and we came right out of the gate with a pretty significant disengagement, so we'll see. But But hey, it handles the speed humps in my neighborhood a little bit better, so there's still some forward progress. So like this right here, this is totally a blind turn. I had trouble with that. I'm sure the cameras would have trouble with that to my left, seeing that car. I only saw it because I saw above the bushes. I could see it coming down this road, so I know it was there. I do wish Tesla would maybe not publish the code, because I know it's all end-to-end neural networks now, at least on the city part, but I wish they would at least explain some of the reasoning. Maybe that's impossible now that it's all AI. All right, we'll see how we get back home. Also, I am paying attention to the road. It seems like the Tesla maps navigation are a little bit off. I don't know if you can see it here. Let me pull it up, but weird putting this on the GoPro, but this little road right here, that no longer exists. It's an underpass to the street over here. It's like filled in and blocked, and that's impossible to get to. And we were going down here, and it had me going to the right versus coming down where we were just at on that road I pointed out just a moment ago. It doesn't like go down this road. It pretends like it doesn't exist whenever I'm navigating there. It's very weird. So maybe they need a map update or navigation update. So far, so good. We'll keep an eye on the speed humps coming up in my neighborhood. So as good as I think full self-driving can get, I will say that it can't truly be a human replacement unless it's got human hardware. So our eyes we have two of them, they're stereoscopic. And when we look to the right or left, we're using stereoscopic vision where our eyes can adjust the depth of field and adjust the focus point to, to look kind of between objects. And I'm not sure all the cameras can do that. And that makes me wonder really how good this can get without the hardware being equivalent to a human, not just the decision making. Very busy. Not normally this busy here. Let's see what kind of trouble it's going to get me into. Go, go. There we go. Nice. So no, I would not say that 12.5.2 is in any way a step down. The issue I have turning out of my street is a known issue. I would say the speed hump, what do you call it? Like the fact that it recognizes the speed humps seems to be improved. It recognized 2 out of 3 of them and slowed down to a more appropriate speed than it normally does. I believe I just saw some release notes that said, I think this release, 12.5.2, maybe results in 3 times as many miles without intervention, and the next update 12, when we jump to 13, it'll be 6 times as many miles between interventions. So we know we got some drastic, substantial improvements coming up. It just doesn't look like this particular release is a marked improvement in any way that I've seen so far. So thanks a lot. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.